Hey everyone, and it's Thursday evening. I can't believe we are almost at the end of the week. Tomorrow is Friday, and you have 2 days off. You get to have a vacay for 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. And then I'll see you again on Monday. And then after that, it's 2 more weeks. Remember that you're going to have a unit assessment 2 weeks from tonight. So please make sure that you're asking lots of questions in regards to your math. All right, so now let's get back to what we were doing. So period 3, res class, we were working on adding and subtracting mixed numbers. We were doing all even. Everyone voted for the even, or not everyone, I take that back. The majority of the students voted for even numbers. We went through to see what was going to be the common denominator. So on number 2, we all said that we're looking at the multiples, so we know that 12 is going to be the lowest one, because 12 is the largest number that we have here, and so we're looking at multiples, and I know that to get from 4 to 12, all I needed to do was multiply. So I'm going to place this paper, I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to place this over on my grid sheet. If you're using notebook paper, that's fine, but I'm going to go ahead and use the grid. So here for number 2, I have 3 3/4 plus 4 5/12. Since I said that 12 is going to be my common denominator because I can always multiply, I'm going to pull out my 3/4. This is going to equal to I'm going to have, so this is going to be the same as 4 times what, 3 times, remember I have to do whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. I'm going to have a common denominator of 12. So 4 times 3 equals 12, 3 times 3 equals 9. So now I have my new fraction with a common denominator of 12. Remember we said that we had whole numbers plus whole numbers. So now my new equation is going to be 3 9/12 plus 4, and I'm going to move this over. I'm going to try to catch myself. And 5/12. And now I can add whole numbers plus whole numbers. So I'm going to circle my whole numbers. 3 plus 4 is 7. So that's done. Now I'm going to add my fractions. 9 plus 5, and I know my denominator is going to be staying the same, so that's going to be 12. So I'm going to automatically place that on there because then it helps me remember. So I have 9 plus 5 is 14. Well, I know that this is greater than 1 because to make a 1, I'm going to have, what can I do? If it's 12, how far am I away? So I'm going to pull this 14/12 out here. Now we said that we can do this either way, right? Because it's a mixed number. And so you can think of it actually 3 ways now, because we were learning on Professor Berger that this is going to be the same as if I had 12 over 12 plus what will equal to 14/12. Well, 12 plus 2 equals 14. So I know that I'm going to have 1 whole plus 2 twelfths. So now this is going to be 1 and 2 twelfths is what's going to be simplified. Right? So does that make it a little bit easier? I kind of felt the crowd went, oh, I get it. So all I did was see what I can do to get to 14 using 12 as my denominator. Now look at what we have over here. Still have my 7. So I needed to add my 7. So 7 plus 1 equals, this is equal to 8 and 2 twelfths. But is this where we stop? Nope, we're going to have 8 half of 2, because they're both even numbers, that means that they're both divisible by 2. Which means I can cut them equally in half into 2 equal parts. So half of 2 is 1, half of 12 is 6. And so my answer is 8 and 1 6. All right, so now I'm going to place that over on my answer key. So I have 8 and 1 6. Oops, there we go. All right, so let's do some more. So that a little bit easier. If you're still needing to make the rectangle box to find the common denominator, please do so. You'll just be making your box and placing your 4 and your 12 and seeing where you're at with it. No problem when you have to keep using it. That's okay. I'm going to reduce this a bit. All right, now my next problem is number 4. I have 4.5. Let's see if you can see that in there. 4.5 plus 3 4/5. So this is number 4. I have 4 1/2 plus 3 4/5. Again, if you're needing to use, I'm going to enlarge this a bit so we can see. If you're needing to use the rectangle to find the common denominator, please do so. I'm going to make my box, draw my line, make my columns, number my boxes, circle my denominators. It's a 2 and a 5. So I have 2, 4, 6, 8. Looks like I need to add another one. 10. I have 5 times 2 is 10, and then there is my lowest one. It's 10. Okay, so if you still have to do it, don't worry about it. Follow that strategy. You will get stronger. Your brain is going to make a connection. I guarantee it. So just follow the strategies that help you find the common denominator. So here, I need to switch this fraction only. So it's here, both of them, but this one here, 1/2. And so this one, I can extend it out. And I'm going to put my 10th here. So you can do it this way. 2 times what equals 10? Well, I've just realized that 2 times 5 equals 10. Whatever I do to my denominator, I do to my numerator, and so that is 5/10. The next one is 4/5. Okay, so I'm going to do it 4/5 equals. You can do it either way. So you can do it like this, where you have 4 times 5 times equals something over 10. So 5 times 2 equals 10. 4 times 2 equals 8. Doesn't make any difference which way, as long as you understand. Okay? Now I can add them up because they have the same denominator. So I'm going to bring down my full equation. That is 4 5/10 plus 3 8/10. Sorry about that. I'm going to be a lot better about it. Whole plus whole, fraction plus fraction. So this is equal to 4 plus 3 equals 7. Then I'm going to put my denominator stays the same. 8 plus 5 equals 13. Well, what do you know? Here I'm going to move my work out here. I have 13/10, which is greater than a whole, right? Because one whole is 10 over 10. So 13/10, and I'm going to do it again. I know that there's 10 over 10 plus what over 10 is going to be equal to 13/10. Well, 10, I'm sorry. There we go. So 10 plus 3 equals 13/10. So I'm going to have 1 whole plus 13/10 equals 1, not 13, I'm so sorry. 1 plus 3/10 equals 1 3/10. But I'm going to bring this over here because I'm going to bring this there. You had 7 plus 1 and 3/10, and that's going to equal to 7 plus 1 equals 8 and 3/10. Okay? And so now I'm going to put my answer over here. It's 8 and 3/10. And there we go there. I'm having to enlarge and then reduce it and enlarge and reduce. Okay, I think that's easier to see. All right, let's move over to number 6 because we're doing evens. I'm going to flip my page over. My equation, let me write, I don't like it because it's going to show through and it's going to be hard to read. So number 6, I have 7 1/4 plus 3 2/5. Okay? Again, common denominator. If you can't see that 4 times what will give me the same thing as 5 times what, make your rectangle box. It's not a big deal. It's all right. What, you're taking another 30 seconds out of your mathematical time? It's worth it then. And I could go up to 5 because that's where I'm at. So circle my denominators because they're not the same. Put my 4 and my 5. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 4 is 16. And 4 times 5 is 20. Okay, 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 4 is 20. So now I found my common denominator, which is 20. I'm going to take my first fraction is 1/4. I need to, and I'll do it this way, change that to a 20. So it's going to be 4 times 5. Whatever I do to the denominator, I must do to the numerator. So now my new fraction is 5/20, because 1 times 5 is 5. Now I'm going to do the same thing with my 2/5. I'll bring that down here. And so extend that. My fraction bar, I'm going to put a 20 underneath it. I went from 5 to 20 is 5 times 4 equals 20. 2 times 4 equals 8. And so that's 8/20. Now I can add. I got my 5/20 here. See my 1/4? This is where I got it. So now I'm going to make my equation. 7 and 5/20 is my new fraction. Plus my 3. And I changed my 2/5 to its equivalent fraction of 8/20. So this is 8/20 equals whole number plus whole number. So 7 plus 3 equals 10. I'm going to put a 20 in there because it always stays the same. And then I have 5 plus 8. Again, it is 13, just like our last one. Okay, so now, am I done? Yeah. Okay, 13 is a prime number, so it's only 1 times 13 equals 13. Can 13 go into 20 evenly? No, not at all. So we are done. And so my answer is 10 and 13/20. That's it. Let's look at number 8. Number 8 reads, my equation is 4 3/7 plus 3 1/2. Okay, again, needed to find the common denominator. And we were talking about this in class already, so you already knew that that was 14. Because 7 times 2 is 14, and then to get to 2 to 14, I would multiply that by 7. So I'm going to bring down my 3/7. Okay, my new denominator is 14. 7 times 2. And whatever I do to my denominator,